Antoni Lallican was a French photojournalist who ventured into the world's most dangerous places to reveal the human side of war. His camera captured not just destruction, but stories of survival and resilience in Syria, Afghanistan, and Ukraine. Lallican's images, published in Le Monde and Der Spiegel, were raw, honest, and deeply personal. As a freelance photographer, he returned repeatedly to Ukraine's Donbass region after the 2022 invasion, determined to show what TV missed. In 2024, he won the Victor Hugo Prize for committed photography. Beyond his work, Antoni mentored young journalists, sharing his experience and sense of responsibility to bear witness. He once said, "I want people to see what TV doesn't show." In autumn 2025, he returned to eastern Ukraine, undeterred by escalating dangers, to continue telling the story. His final Instagram post described the terrifying new reality kamikaze drones, now omnipresent on the front lines. Antoni knew the risks, but remained committed to sharing the truth with the world. On October 3, 2025, Antoni Lallican was embedded with Ukraine's 4th Armored Brigade near Druzhkivka, just 20 kilometers from the front. He and Ukrainian journalist Georgy Ivanchenko traveled in a vehicle clearly marked press, wearing protective gear. At 9:20 a.m., a Russian FPV drone struck their car without warning. The attack was sudden and devastating, the first recorded use of such a drone to kill a journalist in Ukraine. Antoni was killed instantly. Ivanchenko was gravely wounded and lost his leg. 4 others were injured, underscoring the indiscriminate nature of these weapons. The press vehicle, meant to bear witness, became a scene of chaos and tragedy. Ukrainian authorities and fellow journalists rushed to the site, but for Antoni, it was too late. This was not crossfire, it was a targeted strike on a clearly identified press vehicle, far from the fiercest fighting. The incident shocked the journalistic community worldwide. It raised urgent questions about the deliberate targeting of journalists. The attack transformed a casualty of war into a potential crime against humanity, and a direct assault on press freedom. France responded swiftly to Antoni Lallican's death. On October 5, 2025, the National Anti-Terrorism Prosecutor's Office opened a war crimes investigation, treating the killing as a deliberate violation of international law. The case was assigned to the Central Office for Combating Crimes Against Humanity, with investigators working closely with Ukrainian authorities. This was not France's first such case. A similar investigation followed the 2023 death of journalist Armand Soldan. The goal to determine if the drone strike intentionally targeted journalists, a grave breach of the Geneva Conventions. France's legal action sends a message: attacks on journalists will not be forgotten or go unpunished. War crimes are serious violations of international humanitarian law, designed to protect civilians and non-combatants during conflict. The Geneva Conventions and the Rome Statute explicitly protect journalists, who are considered civilians unless they take part in hostilities. Intentionally attacking a journalist is a grave breach of these laws and a war crime. Journalists are the world's eyes and ears, documenting events and exposing atrocities. Attacks on them are not just personal tragedies. They threaten the public's right to information and allow war crimes to go unrecorded. In Antoni's case, the facts are stark. He was a civilian, clearly marked as press, and not participating in combat. The French investigation will seek to prove intent behind the attack. If established, those responsible could be held accountable on the international stage. Protecting journalists is essential for justice and truth. Their safety is a cornerstone of international law. Antoni Lallican was the 15th media worker killed in Ukraine since Russia's 2022 invasion, and the 4th French journalist to die. The dangers for reporters have escalated, especially with the widespread use of FPV drones that can strike anywhere near the front. Over 800 attacks on media have been recorded, from shelling to cyber attacks. Press freedom groups warn that journalists are being deliberately targeted to silence independent reporting. Even with armored vehicles and protective gear, the risks are immense. When journalists are hunted, the world risks losing access to the truth. Antoni's death highlights the near-impossible challenge of staying safe when the press is treated as a target. Without these reporters, the true cost of war remains hidden. Antoni Lallican's killing drew swift condemnation from France, Ukraine, and international organizations. President Macron called the attack unacceptable and a direct assault on press freedom. Ukraine's government pledged full cooperation with the French investigation, emphasizing the deliberate nature of the strike. Reporters Without Borders and other advocacy groups denounced the attack as a flagrant violation of international law. These statements are more than words. They demand accountability and reinforce the protected status of journalists. By labeling the attack a potential war crime, France and its allies refuse to let Antoni's death be forgotten. The world is watching, and the message is clear. Targeting journalists will have consequences. The loss of Antoni Lallican is a loss for all of us. Journalists in war zones are not thrill seekers. They are essential messengers, risking their lives to bring us the truth. When a journalist is killed, a piece of the truth dies with them. Attacks on the press are often meant to silence and intimidate, making it easier for lies to spread. Protecting journalists is about safeguarding our collective access to reality. France's war crime investigation is a declaration that these lives matter, and that the rules of war must be upheld. Every act of accountability strengthens the shield around journalists. Antoni believed in the power of light to expose the truth. Honoring his memory means demanding justice, and protecting those who risk everything to keep us informed.